having a candid conversation with Tammy and Brad, who were both recently involved in altercations with Calgary City Police. Would one of you guys like to start just outlining the beginning of what happened to you?
I guess, well, I got the phone call first from Tiffany, actually. She called me up, so the police had just arrived at her house. Mm-hmm. I said, did you record it? First thing, she said, no, darn it.
Always record everything. Answer your door with your phone.
Yeah, 100%. So we were like, okay, well, she was a little bit rattled, not too bad, but next thing I know, I look out the window. Oh, they're at my house. So I thought, okay, that's interesting because I have common law jurisdiction, no trespassing at my front door, not like it really, just so they know who they're dealing with, I guess. They ring the doorbell. I never answered at first because I thought, they can ticket me at the rally. That's what I thought. Why not have them ticket me at the rally?
Right.
So I waited, but then I have a vehicle that's sitting outside my house there that
you can never give them anything. Give them an inch and they will take a mile.
And it was funny because when I first bought the other vehicle and transferred the registration, I was like, I just put this other plate on there. I could probably sit there like, nobody's going to notice. And all of a sudden these 3 police officers or 2 with the bylaw, they're looking at my vehicle and I'm like, oh, now I have to go out there. So I went out there, grabbed my phone, went out there, just, had a conversation with them. They were trying to intimidate me. They sent 3 male officers.
Yeah, you have a video about that, don't you?
Yeah, I put the video out there just to show everybody
we'll throw the link up.
What the interaction was like there. But, they were trying to intimidate me. I said I wasn't going to accept the ticket, but I would take it under duress because there was 3 of them. And that, without prejudice and that I was not in contract with them whatsoever. And they proceeded. I had a conversation with them when you guys watch it, if you see it, talking about like the mass and they should be doing research. And I was just shocked at some of the things they said to me. But still, he wanted to make sure that I knew that if I went to the rally to stand up for my rights and freedoms and I was too close to somebody, I could be arrested and detained.
Threatening you with arrest for peacefully assembling.
Yeah. Yeah. He said that I would be detained and put in front of a judge.
Unlawful detainment.
That was the staff sergeant of the bylaw staff sergeant.
Yeah. Well, staff sergeant of the bylaw. That's what he said. And bylaw doesn't even pertain to actual human beings, only, businesses and corporations. And
well, that's what they're trying to say is I'm a corporation, right?
Exactly.
That's what this piece of paper says. So that's why I'm like, well, this doesn't apply to me because I'm not a corporation.
No.
Mm-hmm. And that's when he was laughing, chuckling because he really didn't know.
Right.
But, it was the threat that he even gave to Tiffany because we're both single moms being targeted with children. And he mentioned to her about CPS. If she got arrested, then CPS.
It's intimidation.
Children, right? And it's just like that right there.
It's uttering threats.
Yeah, that's a threat.
It's 100% uttering threats, and that is absolutely unlawful. To go over a couple of things with you, you did a lot of things right. This was amazing with the common law stuff. I mean, giving them an inch was definitely your downfall. But just as you were saying, you don't have to answer the door.
Yeah.
And nobody at home has to answer the door. When the police are coming to your house and you know that you have done absolutely nothing wrong and they're trying to uphold this ridiculous Alberta Health and Safety Act nonsense to you, you are not under any circumstances, you do not have to answer that door.
Yeah.
And if they continue knocking and you feel the need to have to answer the door for whatever reasons, you answer the door with do you have a warrant?
Yeah.
Because 10 times out of 10, they're not going to have a warrant. And at the point in time when they know that they have to have a warrant to be able to be allowed into your property, even stand on your property, they will 10 times out of 10 turn around and walk away.
Mm. Well, I didn't let them in my house. I actually went out because I didn't want to be late, and they were casing my truck in my house out. So I thought, you know what? I'm brave. I'm fearless. I'm going to take this ticket. I'm in direct contact with Christopher James, so he's guiding me through this common law jurisdiction that we're going to challenge. So he's calling me later tonight. But I was just like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to film it, and I'm going to do the best that I can to handle these police the best that I can, which I could have, Christopher James, don't be so nice to them. I would have mopped the floor with them. And I thought, you know what? I almost called him, but I thought, how am I going to call him and talk to him while I'm recording?
Right.
So
I know this is why and I've said this a million times. This is why, you guys, we have a flip phone, a burner phone from Best Buy.
Yeah.
Have a burner phone from Best Buy and then have your smartphone.
Well, I thought he has the Zoom, so I could have called him and he could have sent me a Zoom link and he could have recorded the Zoom call from his end.
Oh yeah.
I could have done that. So I thought about that later.
Yeah. There's a bunch of ways that you can make sure that you're recording, including a screen record. If you have an iPhone or I know some Androids that you screen record what you're recording, and then you have that screen record too.
Yeah, that's good to learn.
More than multiple devices is definitely good. But as well, I just want to point out here that this is a $1,200 ticket for Tammy here.
Proud of it.
Yep.
You're a big smile for that ticket.
I earned it, but I really I told them they were pissing me off because this is ridiculous. Like, it is ridiculous to try to threaten me with this piece of paper and saying if I go to the rally, then I could be arrested. I was just in shock.
Not allowed to talk to Brad.
So they're trying to put conditions on these completely free and innocent citizens of humanity to not talk to each other. No. I'm sorry, officer. That's what you do to gangsters and drug dealers and gun dealers and criminals. You don't do that to free breathing human beings peacefully assembling and hugging one another. I'm
Well,
sorry.
that's why we're criminals for hugging.
Oh my.
So if I give you a hug or
goodness
someone
gracious.
else a hug, going to jail.
So this says you did unlawfully contravene an order, medical 731 of the medical officer of health. It doesn't say when, does it?
It does. It says
When?
the 20th. So
Okay,
maybe
so this was December 20th. So this is the thing with this ticket.
it came on the 26th.
Right. That's fine. On December 20th, 2020, when you go into court for this ticket on December 20th, 2020, so officer or the court or whoever you're speaking to at that point in time, on December 20th, 2020, I allegedly contravene an order for the medical officer of health. And could you explain to me what was going on that day? And they say, oh, well, there was a protest down at City Hall and you were there and you weren't socially distancing and you didn't have a mask on, so you're against the health order. And you say, oh, there was a social gathering, there's a public assembly there. You know what I mean? They're trying to say a public assembly is a social gathering. So there's a public assembly there? Yes. And how many people would you say was at that public assembly? Oh, 500, 200, 1,000, whatever the case is. You get them to say the amount of people that was at that public assembly. And then you say, oh, can you provide me with all of the other tickets that you handed out to every single other peaceful assembler there that was contravening the Medical Health Officer Act? Because it is actually unlawful for them to only charge one. They must charge the entire group or none at all. So
Okay.
this literally makes this garbage. The judge will immediately take it away because not everybody was
So
served,
you
but
can live
everybody
with
was not everybody was served, but everybody was there. And now in a court of law, it's been stated that there were more than just you contravening this act, and yet you
There were
were the
many of us.
only one
And that's where-
that was ticketed.
Yeah, and that's where you get into the where they're trying to attack certain people, right? And
Target.
harass, target
Mhm.
certain people, and by doing that, what they're doing is sending a message of fascism, not a message of policing.
Absolutely.
And so when they deal with fascism, we got to look at what countries have fascism and what is the coronavirus rules and regulations. What are they establishing in the minds of the police force now? They're establishing that they're able to do these things.
Mhm.
And so, what they did with me is they waited down the street from where my car was parked, and they waited until I finished the rally. I came back, got in the car. They saw me drive across the street, turn the corner. About 3 minutes later, they were behind me with the lights going. So they got me out of stopped the car. I got out of the car to ask them what was up. Then they wouldn't let me go back to my car. They left it running. My cell phone and insurance and everything was in the car. They wouldn't let me go back unless they went back and looked through my
They're
glove
treating you
box.
like a criminal.
Right.
Mhm.
So they wouldn't, and then they put me in handcuffs, put me in a paddy wagon, took me down to the center, but they didn't do it in Calgary. They did it about, I don't know how many kilometers away. What is it? Country Boulevard. Yeah, Country Boulevard.
Country
And-
Hills Boulevard.
Country Hills Boulevard. And it's way up Spy Hill. And so I went up there. It was like, I don't know, 45 minutes, 40-minute drive, I guess, give or take. So it was out of town. They were trying to intimidate me by getting me to go into this jail environment.
They took you to the remand center
And that's right. The
up
remand center.
by Spy Hill up
Yeah.
in
I know it was.
Royal Oak.
It was
Yeah.
the news. There's a news center. It's called the policing processing.
Arrest
unit.
processing unit.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the new arrest processing unit,
Yeah.
because the old arrest processing unit was right directly beside City Hall before.
Mhm.
I haven't been to an arrest
So-
processing unit for over a decade, so I don't know where the new one is.
So what they said was interesting because they could have done it downtown, right? And they didn't. So they took me up there and they processed me in, and then they kind of were sneaky about it. Not they, one of them. And what it was is the 2 officers or 3 officers were taking orders from this staff sergeant who is the bylaw officer.
Mm.
And he was phoning in. So he made the issue about taking me up to this, because I could hear them on the phone. And they're looking, they came back and looked at me and says, we usually would do this downtown, but we have to take you up to the processing center, which I said, fine. I didn't say fine. I just, what am I, well, whatever,
What do you do, yeah.
with handcuffs. So they took me up there. It was interesting when I got
With
there.
handcuffed, unlawfully
Yeah.
detained and handcuffed as a free human being, not engaging in an actual crime.
Right. And what they did, it's interesting. One of the officers actually came and was really kind of embarrassed about the way they were treating me. And he actually
As
came,
well, he should be.
and what he did is he showed me on his cell phone. And when the others weren't looking, he put on his cell phone, "We really support you." And what he says, and he showed me the cell phone, and he went like this, and he looked at me, just letting me know that he was just doing his job, but he really does support us. He didn't like what was going on because he kept sticking up for me. Oh, maybe we could do it this way instead of this way. Maybe we don't need to do it this way. And
the division.
yeah, so what they did
Yeah,
then,
internal division.
Yeah.
yeah. So then they put me in the cell, and I was, waiting, and I was under the impression it would take an hour to give me the ticket and go.
Mhm.
I didn't know why they put me in the cell, to be honest, because I thought, well, just give me the tickets and I'll go. But the plan was that what they were going to do is keep me there. So then the staff sergeant of the bylaws came and started talking to me, telling me, you're not allowed to talk to Tammy anymore. He says, you can't talk to Tammy anymore. You can't go to the
Let's
rallies.
have
He
a
said,
group hug.
he said, see, this is for
They're
him.
not
Yeah,
going
special,
to stop us from hugging
No.
and smiling.
So I looked at him and I said, as if, right? And it was interesting because I'm listening to him and he says, yeah, I'm going to get the bail hearing tomorrow morning. Or he says, the bail hearing, it should be only about another half hour. And this was about 8 o'clock in the evening already. And he says, about half an hour, an hour. He says, yeah, it's not much lineup. You should get in tonight. And he says, but I'm going to ask for a lot of restrictions. And one of the restrictions were, he was going to put the restrictions he wanted, like, again, no contact with Tammy and the gang. He wanted, he was going to ask for all this other information, just stuff that he was putting in there. But the end of the story is, in the morning when I went to the bylaw, because they ended up keeping me overnight, it was all a con job to, teach me a lesson. And in the morning when I went into the bylaw hearing, they didn't ask for anything.
So
They didn't want anything. So it was just
exactly
intimidation.
to sum
Which,
up,
no, doesn't work.
bail hearings and release conditions are for criminals with criminal offenses.
Mhm.
So you didn't have any release conditions,
'Cause
which
it was-
proves
yeah.
you were not a criminal.
So why did they have me in overnight?
So
Yeah.
why did they have
Or
you
you
in
didn't have a
overnight?
bail.
So and you did do a bail hearing. You went
It
in
was
front
a
of
bail-
it. You went in front of a
Justice
justice of the peace.
Yeah, bail hearing.
And they gave you some paperwork.
Yeah, the
They
paper-
didn't give you tickets, but they
They
gave you some
took my
paperwork.
tickets. So I don't have the tickets now. I've asked now. I've got to respond, and I want them to give me all the tickets because I had them last night. They went into the bag, and then when I got everything out this morning, the tickets were gone. I didn't notice. I was so tired.
Now
'Cause
pass
you're-
me those. I just want to see the
'cause-
one thing that's weird on here.
Because you have
wanna
to sleep.
Right.
You have to sleep on this concrete slab that's cold, ice cold, and they make you wear a t-shirt.
How cold?
Pretty cold.
Ice
Ice
cold.
cold. So it's insane.
Okay, so you've got charges. You've got a public health orders 73-1. You've got a couple traffic safety acts. Now this is the Trojan horse that they sent in here. They're like, well, we're gonna take you in because you got this thing that you didn't even know that you had.
Yeah.
It's just basically some BS stuff that they could just dig
just,
up.
Yeah, just stuff.
Much like your vehicle sitting outside of your house. They found a chink in the armor.
Well, it doesn't do any good because
and then they tore at it, right?
Yeah.
But then there's something else here. There's another public health act from the November 28th.
Mhm.
And then there's another one that does say Traffic Safety Act, doesn't say Public Health Act. It says 26M 2020, Section 3. But it doesn't have an act on here. So that's actually something that's concerning to me. I don't know what it is.
These are always part
So
3.
So what we do in that is I put a call in. Tammy and I made a call into the center today, asking the staff sergeant of the police to I want all the tickets.
Mhm.
So I want to see everything.
Yeah.
And so he was saying, oh, you don't really need them. You're like this. I said,
No, you have 100%
And I
complete
said-
rights to
And I
them.
said, no, we want them. He says, oh, okay.
No, you just need the paperwork.
Yeah, you just
That's
need
it.
to-
Oh, he's just trying to
You have all
tell
your
you that
paperwork.
you're.
You
Like
just show up at the court on the day and that's it. And
No.
it's like, no, for my case.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we're putting together a case.
Yeah, so what we're going to do
Absolutely.
now is, based on the intimidation, there's two ways. We're going to look at statute court, like basic litigation, and deal with that under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and go in and attack it on those levels, human rights, whatever the Constitution. And then the other one is common law court for damages. And the damages, I think, is what's important because the damages really speak to the fact that they're, the damages they've done. Put fear in, harassment, duress.
I believe
all
that's
of those
100% the most important thing that you guys
Mhm.
need to be documenting right now, either via video, but also via black and white in an email to yourself or whatnot, so it has a timestamp. But you have to really document the harm that you are incurring due to these unlawful actions, unjust actions, treating you as criminals, both of you, trying to give you conditions to not see each other, complete just absolute.
And why would he do that?
Lunacy.
Like, it's lunatic.
You
It's
guys,
like-
you guys are not criminals. Listen,
so-
I know criminals, and you guys are definitely
So
not
when
some
he
of them.
came in, it was interesting. He was smirking.
Not a criminal.
And it was interesting to watch him smirk because he thought, well, ha, 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 I got you in jail now. How you're not a big guy now, kind of attitude. And I was, you're there and you're kind of, in a place where there's nothing you can do. You just have to smile.
You just wait.
And you
Yeah.
just wait. And I'm thinking, great, this is your time. Our time's coming.
Mm.
And our time's coming because he's going to be getting a notice soon with the damages that we're seeking.
Absolutely.
Legal, lawful damages.
Absolutely, you had a whole night of your life taken from you that day, and who
the-
knows
and
what you
the
could have done that night.
stress and everything that they've done, it's all legitimate.
Yeah.
And what do I value my time at? What do I value that bad experience on Boxing Day worth? What do I value half of my day, on the 27th worth, and all of the drama and everything taking me away from, everything that was, an actual part of my life that they don't have the right to touch, right?
Right.
So by infringing on that right and infringing on my sovereignty, that's where the problem starts for them. And what we'll do is encourage everyone who gets tickets to follow that suit. So what we'll do is we'll do templates, and then we'll start suing them. And I warned the bylaw officers the other day, and I said, this is a ministry. I have the right to ministry of love and education on spirituality. That's what it is. That's what freedom is.
Yeah.
And I said, we're a freedom ministry. And I said, and it's on the Freedom Unity Alliance website. And that gives us the right to, beyond our sovereign rights, but that gives us a right to congregate, like Pastor Art said.
It's religious freedoms.
Religious freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
So they're infringing on
People
that.
need to stop getting so upset about the word religion and know that love is a religion and that peace and freedom are religions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So all of those things tie into what we're doing now. So now they've given us the tools. They've given us the tools, and now we can. Because I was telling everybody for weeks, I'm just waiting. Right, I'm waiting for myself so I can get motivated. Not that I wouldn't be motivated for others, which we were, but it's more now you're actually in the boat. You're not outside the boat. It's the next step. And we've already got it game planned, war gamed. Yeah. And the war game is you have to come at it now, where fire with fire, but legally. Mm-hmm. And if we do it that way, then what we can do is we can start showing our power, because we've got top lawyers, for constitutional lawyers, we've got civil litigation lawyers, we've got common law justice lawyers, and or not lawyers, but common law sovereignty, legal minds in that world. And so what that allows us now is to spearhead an attack backward.
And so I just want to clarify about the attacking here, because, being a person who knows both sides of the track, so to say, I know how important it is to have officers around and to have the Calgary Police Service around, because bad things happen to good people by bad people often. And that needs to stay consistently being taken care of by our systems in place. However, when we want to spearhead and attack people, specifically, we're going after not
breaches.
Support the police and report the individual. There's specific individuals out there just doing their job, which sounds a lot like
breach of trust. Those that breach their trust of the humanity, breaching their trust of sovereignty, breaching the trust of their due diligence on their side.
Yes, specific officers.
Not
all of the police.
We're still respecting
but specific officers are making the active decision to put human beings directly in harm's way instead of going with their oath to protect them.
That's right.
And we've been doing that from the beginning.
So that's amazing concept too. It's just identify the specific, because a lot of the police are with us.
Oh, we want to hold those who are acting unjustly 100% accountable themselves as individuals.
And it's the bylaw officers we're talking about right now, not the police. The police were acting out assisting the bylaw service. You're right, 100%.
Yeah.
So what it is now we say, okay, if you're assisting, you're having to do your job. Like when we're doing the rallies, we'll speak to that. And we say, we support the police. We know that they're in a tough position doing their job. Yeah. And we do. We love our police. Nothing's changed. Yeah. What we don't like is bylaw officers puffing out their chest, trying to intimidate us, doing a job that they think, well, they should know if they did any research, is really discouraging to the population, because it's undermining our trust of their discretion. They don't have discretion.
Absolutely. They're upholding these public health orders, for, the safety of the public health, although they're protecting public health by telling them to stop breathing and to stop mixing their, bacteria together in order to boost your immune system. So they're doing all these things that are decreasing immunity for a virus that isn't even an actual virus or proven to be isolated. So now they're just upholding completely nonsensical rules, completely nonsensically.
Yeah. Well, he even said specifically, this guy that we're talking about, the super staff sergeant, he said specifically, I said, the masks don't actually work. And he said, probably not.
Yeah.
So he said that to me.
So people know.
So it's like, first of all, he said that the mask didn't work. So he said if I was to go into a large group, I'd stay 6 feet apart or wear a mask. So he admitted that the mask didn't work. And he also was this far away from me.
Yes. They're breaking their own health mandate by gathering in groups of more than 6. I have them on film many times doing that. And by coming closer to 6 feet to people. How are you supposed to be trusted when you're breaking the rules that you're literally standing there enforcing?
Well, what I noticed in the paddy wagon when I was in the back looking at the front, they all had their masks off. They did. And then when they come around to talk to me at the back, mask goes on. And it's the same inside the detention center. Same, well, not as bad, but there were officers, like when they'd come to my room or to my cell, they would take their mask off, or they would not have it on, or most did, because they're in this fear syndrome. But the big thing is really what does it all mean? why are they doing that? What's the end game? And it's the beginning of the end game. And if we don't push back at this time, I think we're in trouble. And that's why we're going to spearhead something that's really unique and powerful, because that spearhead has to be a direct attack on those infringing on us. And if we do that, it's sending a message, and we're still doing our rallies. We're sending a message and saying, not happening. If you do that to us, you're going to get it tenfold by this, legally, not violence.
And each individual. It's not going to be us going to like the Calgary City Police and like taking everybody as a blanket. No, there's no complaints. We are literally holding individuals completely 100% liable for the harm that they are inflicting by going against their oath.
Nuremberg trials, right? So if we look at Nuremberg, you look at what happened in Nuremberg was, they can't stand behind, I was ordered to do this.
No.
So if they do that, then they're going to be liable. It depends on what. But I think that then they're going to be financially liable, because that's the pocketbook. Pocketbook will hurt the most. That's what they tried to do with me. That's what they're doing with Tammy. That's what everybody's getting a ticket. $1,200. What right do they have to take $1,200 away from a single parent
who's already paying for their salary with her taxes? Who
has 2 children. And she's dealing with this. Then you add Tiffany. You add all these other people that are getting these tickets, scaring Angelica, 18, 19-year-old, who's she's great. But why? They're trying to intimidate. So what we're going to do now is reverse it. We're going to say we're not going to intimidate.
They're causing health harm.
Well, of course they are. So what we're going to do is we're going to say it's not acceptable. We're not putting up with it. And we've warned them, gave them lots of, all the way along. I've told them, even the bylaw officers. I went to them the other day at the rally, or 2 weeks ago, or a week ago. And I warned them individually. I said, the bylaw officers that they're walking by, I said, you know what? If you do this, we're going to come back and you're going to get it tenfold in the way that it was put.
It's interesting because all the police officers, if you watch my lives, all the police officers will give me their badge number. There's this one bylaw officer, this middle-aged woman, and she refuses to give me her. And I am relentless, and I finally got it from her. And then I made her give it to me again the following week after. And it was the same lady, but she looks at me as if it isn't her public duty to inform me of her identification. I can't even tell if you're a person behind that toque and that mask and your glasses. Yeah. All of the bike police look the same. Yeah. I'm not even sure if you guys are 100% police or if you're just criminals posing as police, trying to get information exactly from me. So I don't believe that some of these police officers are actually police officers. I need to confirm your identity because you're a public servant. You work for the public. You work for us. We pay your salary through our taxes. We pay for your cars through our taxes. We pay for your clothing through our taxes.
Yeah. Well, a lot of them are just drones now.
A lot of them aren't getting oxygen to the brain, and it shows.
And it's like everybody's getting
brain damage.
And when they do the masks for any period of time, you notice everybody's grumpy or they're upset. There's no harmony in life anymore. They're all argumentative, or they want to, put you down. Like, people are going crazy. And so what we're defending is that, the way it was, the old normal, not the new normal, the way it was, because someone has to. And we are doing that with this group all over Canada, all around the world, where all these massive rallies are happening and people just like us, taking up the flag of this liberty and, coming together. And I think that's the big thing right now.
Yeah, I think we're pushing towards a new normal.
Yeah. I mean, people are having a hard time. The body goes under intense duress when it's under a stressful situation. It releases a large amount of cortisol. So when you're releasing a large amount of cortisol and you don't already have the right amount of oxygen, not just to your blood, because I know everybody says it doesn't drop blood oxygen level. Yeah, but it drops brain oxygen level. And go ahead and tell me where you're getting your brain oxygen level test, because this neurologist here, Dr. Margaret Gritz Brierson, has said there's many different problems with the masks causing brain damage, says a neurologist. But these people aren't given a platform to speak to the masses. We have to find this information and dig it up to give to our friends who believe in the science of things, because she says right here, there's a problem. This is very hard to read, but the second problem is that the nerve cells in your brain are unable to divide themselves as normally. So in case our governments will generously relieve us to get rid of the masks, so it's very hard to read this news article, but there you have it. The brain nerve cells in your brain are unable to divide themselves normally because of a lack of oxygen in them. These people's brain synapse nerve cells aren't firing, and while they're not firing, they're also raising the cortisol levels in their whole entire body. Yeah. So they're just going into fight or flight mode. So most of them fight.
That's why a lot of them are so angry.
They yell swear words at you. They don't even know who you are. Somebody called me a BITCH at the mall the other day, and I'm like, excuse me, do you even know who I am? And he said, no. And I wasn't trying to say, I'm like, do you know who I am? I'm just saying, then how does it make any sense for you to call me a name? You don't even know who I am.
I got it too.
You would have to know somebody to be called that.
Yeah.
Some of them are just angry because they're wearing the mask and they see someone not, And it's like, well, I've got to, you better too, without knowing anything about the science or the wisdom behind not, or
That's the
doing
real enemy.
or doing your research. Right?
Absolutely.
It's easier that way.
In this
Follow how many hate texts I've got from people I know. It's insane.
in this interview I did of Nicholas the other day, his first point was that COVID fear culture enables society-wide cruelty and division. And I like to repeat that because that is specifically what's happening right now.
Yeah.
COVID fear culture. So being afraid of COVID, sitting there without oxygen to your brain, with your body coursing cortisol through it. That's what the fear culture is. You know,
No sanitizers.
yes, and it's enabling society-wide cruelty division because if you're not wearing a mask, you're causing death, which is not proven. You're causing death, so that way I can yell at you for killing people. Because if you're killing people, I'm 100% allowed to. So it's justifying this absolute
So who's
aberrant
doing this?
behavior
Who's doing this?
from person to person.
The
So
media.
the big question is, behind the media, behind the changes, and behind the vaccines, behind the virus fake fraud, what is actually running the show? And that's where we get into the reality. When we start stepping back, even a step further, step back, step further, and then we start looking at the mountain from a proper perspective.
Yeah,
We know
we're so zoned.
yeah,
in.
so zoned into what they want us to be focused on. And let's fight about the virus. Is it real? Isn't it? That's not the problem.
No,
It's what is the end game? What do they want to do? They being the controllers of this fraud, what do they really want to happen? And how is it unfolding?
yes.
So when we focus now and say, yeah, we're going after tickets, that's a spearhead into starting the movement by picketing City Hall or not
crumbling the lie.
or crumbling the line. Because
that's the first chink in their
the
armor.
first chink, because it's their weakness, right? Their weakness is lawsuits that actually work and where we actually challenge it. So we want the evidence. We want the evidence.
Speaking of lawsuits that don't work, the what is it? The Freedom for Canada group and their JCCF pulling up the province of Alberta or the city of Calgary for their lockdowns. Prove to us the science behind the lockdowns. And then they said, okay, well, we'll adjourn for 5 days and we'll prove to you on Monday, the 21st. And then again, they said, okay, or Wednesday or whatever the next day was, prove to us the evidence justifying the lockdowns. And then they said, we can't. We don't have the evidence. And yet they've done the lockdown already. How have they done a lockdown
Without the evidence.
without evidence that they can prove in a court of law?
Insane. Insane.
Well, and that's the thing, right? The evidence is key. Evidence about the virus, the isolation of the virus.
Evidence that this virus can be isolated all by itself without anything else.
Yes, and evidence of masks
And the
work.
tests work, the PCR tests are not,
Evidence that the
Another
PCR
joke.
tests are more than 45% accurate.
or even testing for anything other than human DNA.
Evidence that human beings that are passing away only from COVID and not from other comorbidities.
Prove one person died of CV-19.
Prove one
Prove
person
one.
died. You
Because
know,
they can't even do that. Can't
Yeah.
prove one person died of the
Insane.
virus because it's not isolated when you don't
because it's
isolate
not a
it.
virus.
Well, whatever.
Exactly.
'Cause
It's
It's
a
a
mind
sickness.
virus. It's a
It's a
mind virus.
sickness.
it's like a flu. It's like a cold. It's like
I
an
don't know.
immune system.
It's the body's natural immune response to a toxic substance invading it.
And where did that toxic
Where
stuff
did,
come
that's a
from?
whole
That's a
nother
whole
No,
other
I'm just
side.
saying.
Yeah, I can see
It's a
how
whole
the
nother
belief there is
conversation.
a
I do
virus.
want to have that conversation for sure,
Mhm.
but that one's a whole nother
Yeah,
conversation
yeah.
for sure.
So stepping back and where did it come from are, a couple of really good points. And I think, stepping back is, we can go way back historically, the control grid. We can go back in so many areas of even dimensions into, the whole deeper spiritual side of who we are and who has been controlling this deception for
And
so
why
long.
our
and how.
power is being severed and how.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why everybody has power. And we are being severed from it, and we are being asked to give it up willfully for the greater good.
Yeah.
Brainwashing.
It's 100% brainwashing.
Yeah.
For the greater good, meanwhile, people are actually living for longer this year than ever before.
Than ever before. Yeah, the numbers.
And families are happy because they get to spend time together.
Yeah.
Well, if they're not stressed.
If they're not stressed because
Well-
they're broke and they're going bankrupt. And
Exactly. So I just want to thank you guys for coming here and sharing your tickets and your experiences. And I want to remind everybody out there that this is just a piece of paper and they cannot be upheld in a court of law, and that you are not entitled to have to open up that door, and they have to show you that they have a warrant, and you are not a criminal. You are not doing anything unlawful. A public health order or medical officer of health, they write it differently everywhere you look because it's phony, because it's nonsense and it's fake.
well, here's an expansion on that. To expand that, we look at it. We know why they're doing it, so we can't allow that to happen. That means our rallies have to get bigger. way bigger.
We should all
Way
be
more
asking
people,
for tickets.
and we should be asking for
ask
tickets. Don't be in fear, because the tickets
No,
just
take
Give us power.
so let's say
The more
we
of us
want to
have tickets,
raise
the
the
more power
rallies.
we have,
Yeah, we want to
right?
get the rally sizes bigger, so they say it's not working. Now they're getting sued.
Uh-oh.
That's not working. So all of a sudden they're going to have to change
Then
their
we
game plan.
become the machine.
Right.
Then we go after Nenshi. We go after his part in this. We start asking for disclosure of information, personal records of who's paying him, how he's getting paid. Kenny the same. Same with Trudeau, because we want to know, did they take money like the Prime Minister of Belarus? Did they take money? Because it's been going around that there's a lot of money being given out by these vaccine industries. And the proof's in the pudding. We'll find out, and we will look to expose that.
And they're trying to take the money from poor single mom pockets here. Like, ridiculous. No, I
I'm
don't.
not pay a cent.
Not today,
I'm not-
Trudeau.
I
Not
won't be
today.
paying this. Don't worry. This is not getting paid. It doesn't apply to me.
These things don't hold up in a court of law.
Yeah.
Straight up.
And that's why they keep putting them all to April.
Yeah.
And then
Next
they're
year,
going to push them
next year.
back next year. And they start getting challenged in the common law court, they're going to flip out.
Yeah.
Because that's when it's going to be costly. Because in their court, they can control it. They'll have to get rid of it because of the, under the Constitution or the Charter, the Charter attacks. But under common law, that's when you get retribution. You start getting, you get monetization of their fraud.
Yeah,
And then-
absolutely. Holding them commercially accountable for the harm that they have inflicted.
Yeah, and it comes on many levels: individual, group, and for the country. Our country has been defrauded of its sovereignty. And it's been defrauded of our sovereignty because they've taken away people's livelihoods, children's livelihoods. They've injured and damaged our children. They've injured and damaged families where the elderly are in the old folks' home and they can't get visits. They've got all of this crap that they're doing, and now we're coming at them.
Yeah.
We're saying, you know what? Great, you've had your first kick at the can. You've thrown the first punch. We see what you're doing. Now the people are coming together. The people are coming together.
And
the
we're
people,
not bowing.
and we're not bowing.
And that's what's the.
We're not bowing. We're
we're
the
not.
opposite. We're flexing the
Well, that's
muscle.
what's powerful.
And we're coming. We're
Yeah,
coming
not,
for you.
We're
We're
not
coming
bowing.
for you.
This I just like to say a quick thing here that Mr. Brad Carrigan is sitting here with absolutely no sleep, having slept on a concrete bench all night long in a
Loved
jail
every
cell.
minute of it.
In a jail cell, and we're sitting here with our ponytails and our hats, and like we haven't gotten any rest, but we're still standing up.
We go nonstop.
And we're still standing against this absolute utter nonsense. And
We
that
won't
just
stop.
shows the resilience of human beings. So I thank both of you guys for being here,
Thank you.
even though it's been quite a crazy last 24 hours and beyond now at this point in time.
But
So
it's fun. You know what it is?
it's
And
a-
when I say
it's
it's
a
fun,
game, and I'm ready
when I
to
say
play with
it's a
them.
chess game, it's a chess game.
100%.
And you know what? You don't play unless you want to win. And we're going to win it because we're in the right, we're in the light, we're in the truth, and we're in the wisdom of
We're
how to
the
make
side,
it
we're the
unfold.
love, yeah,
And no one can
yes,
beat
yeah.
truth and
And
love
that's
and light.
a big
No.
portion of
Not
this
a
is
chance.
creating the new world too.
Yes.
Because as we're going through this challenge, we're also building something new. So I think we also need to focus on that portion of it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Not being torn down by the old system attacking us constantly. We just go, you know what? You can do that over here, but we're also still creating something brand new that's beautiful, right?
Amen.
No fear,
Absolutely.
no fear, no
Yeah,
fear.
I think that's important.
No fear.
I've met so many new fabulous people.
I love all my freedom
Yeah,
fam.
I'm
like,
just
seriously,
so blessed to have
it's
all
been
these.
the best thing to
amazing-
clean out the closet of all the skeletons of
Yes.
the ghosts of Christmas past.
Yeah,
And then to have an amazing family
Real
rise from
family.
the ashes of the COVID.
with real connection.
Truth
Fire.
tellers, truth tellers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really powerful.
Real strong human beings who are resilient, who stand in truth and in right, and aren't afraid to question things.
Mhm.
Well, we're on the side of truth, and that's the side that's going to win, right?
Absolutely.
All mountains or lies are coming down, and we are just becoming stronger and stronger, and we're uniting more and more, and that's what this. That's
Yeah,
what
and
they're
everybody
afraid
is
of.
invited.
That's what they're afraid of. So,
And all you guys are all invited.
Right.
So we'll see everybody again next Saturday. That is the 2nd.
Second.
January,
Next Saturday,
in the
January
new
2nd.
year.
The first,
Yeah, the
first
first Freedom Rally of 2021.
It'll be a
Walk
big
for
one.
Freedom 2021.
Yeah, Walk for Freedom
2020
2021.
will be over. Oh,
Wow.
But here's the thing.
That's intense.
What
Yeah.
we've learned in 2020 about the rallies, how to manifest them, how to bring the people together under the rallies, I think is so important now, because now we see what can be achieved.
Mhm.
Bumps in the road have happened, of course, like anything that's new and exciting. But now we know what the focus needs to be, how we need to build it, how we need
Keep
to
gathering.
expand it, keep gathering. Everybody's
keep
got to come
evolving.
together.
we're
Yeah,
evolving.
everybody's welcome to come together, and everybody's
Yeah.
welcome to come to the Freedom Rally and do your thing that
Yeah.
you want to do at the Freedom
Yes.
Rally. You know what I
Be
mean?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a big, big thing, because
We're-
where it started, I remember in the summertime, the very first Walk for Freedom. It was a lot of love. It was a lot of people just coming together, no expectations,
Right.
no divisions, because everybody understood the word love and unity, and that was the guiding force. That stayed with us most of the way along. There were bumps in the road, but still, you can still see it, the nucleus and people that are coming together that are, and it's open for everybody.
Yeah.
It's just, people have to reposition now and say, what is the real reason we did this and why are we doing it?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
the real
We're
reason is coming
not
together.
excluding anybody at all.
No, of course not.
Well, and
Don't
doing
disclude
different
it.
things. There's different ways to have a rally, like the suit up performances. That's
Oh, I
another
love Suit Up
awesome
Canada.
thing that we're doing. Yeah, and
Suit Up
we're
Canada.
trying to promote everybody across Canada doing
What is
it.
it? .org?
.com.
.com. That's right. That's
Suitupcanada.com, but or
.com.
.ca. Both of them are still.
I should know that.
Yeah, we're the one that did it. But that's another cool thing that we're doing too. And just like we were thinking about, like last rally, we popped into the mall.
Mhm.
Did you see that? We caught the police on
because of my
guard.
pinched nerve, I dipped just at the Glenbow Museum. So
That was powerful.
I was really upset. Once I heard that afterwards, I was really upset.
That was
Well,
like-
we were
that was
walking
like a
past and
highlight.
Brad's looking
Oh, I
at it, I'm
know.
like, we're going in there, and he's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like,
You
"Guys,
know
we're
what?
right in there."
After I heard that you did that, I thought that's why you got picked up.
Oh,
We're
probably.
going.
Well, you know what?
into the
Because we escalated.
We
And what
have
it
to
was,
do
we
more,
went.
though.
Who's got live streams of that?
I do.
Do you were live or
I
video?
put it on. No, not live. Sorry, it's video. I posted on my Twitter. It's on my
On Twitter,
Twitter.
okay.
But I can send you.
But it's
the
powerful
Yeah.
because
No.
all of a sudden you're in there with a couple hundred people doing chants and
And all these
everybody
people
up,
were
No
coming camera
mask.
and everybody no
mask,
mask, and
we're
the
free,
security guard tries to stop us as we're walking.
We're
in.
like,
You can't come in here, and we just like,
excuse
yeah,
me.
yeah.
Okay, out
Sure.
of the way.
no, we can, and we
This
are.
is public domain serving public people, trying to get
And we
private money out of public people, and all public is welcome.
And we didn't pull an
But,
Antifa.
and
We
this is
didn't.
doing more though, something different, adding to it, right?
Absolutely.
Like
No
pushing.
violence, nothing unpeaceful. Just stating we're here. People in the mall, look at the other side of the story because you're only hearing one side of the story,
Absolutely.
and that's why you have to expand the reach. And and I think now that's why they're trying to enforce these silly bylaw tickets more because they see we're reaching out more and more people are starting to understand it, and they're waiting to see what happens with the tickets.
Mhm.
So now when we say tickets don't matter,
Yeah.
They
tickets
don't,
are nothing.
they're irrelevant
Put me in
to us.
jail. That
It's
won't
not
matter either because then I'm going to sue you double, triple, quadruple, and then I'm going to be very, very wealthy from the money that we're going to make from you suing or from us suing you for doing stupid things. And great.
Well, also saying like Kevin J. Johnson saying, "Oh, I'm a journalist."
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
Oh,
I have,
absolutely.
like, I'm a journalist.
Every single one of you guys have a video telephone. You are 100% a citizens journalist now. You are part of an independent media, citizen journalist. You are there to document the truth. You are there to document history, and
They
you
can't touch you.
are free and clear to do
5
whatever
years.
you may.
5 years if they touch you or something. Yeah, 5 years apparently.
And you will get 5 years if you touch me.
Don't
So-
touch me. 5 years.
The one thing that I've noticed on my live, if people go back and watch it, is that there's this one guy. Well, the girl Kendra is getting her ticket. There's this one guy behind it, and I didn't catch the interactions as well as I wish that I would have after I had a private conversation with him later. But he outlined how they refused to give him a ticket, even when he didn't give his name. First, they were like, "Oh, what's your name? Oh, I'm not giving you my name. Not doing anything wrong. Well, we're going to give you a ticket." They're like, ticket for what? No, I'm not doing anything wrong. And then they said, "No, I didn't catch the whole interaction, but you caught the part where he said, 'Arrest me then.'" And he gave them his hands.
Wow.
And they said, "You don't want it to go there now, do you?" And he said, "No, I do. Arrest me then." He goes, "You don't want it to go there now, do you?" And he's like, "No, I do. Arrest me." So he said for the third time, "Arrest me." And they said, "Never mind."
Wow.
And they walked away because you're calling their bluff.
Yeah.
Well,
They're
it's all
sitting
fear-mongering.
they're sitting there saying that you're doing something illegal. So you say, "Okay, fine. Take me away. If I'm doing something illegal, take me away."
Yeah. Take me away.
And once we
Obstruction.
and once we start
Nice.
pushing or getting some of these into court, into the various jurisdictions of different courts, and get them to realize there's pushback
Yeah.
financially and all of this,
Yeah,
they're
group
gonna group
en
pushback.
masse.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Because this, what we're doing is we're encouraging everybody now. We're going to do template.
Oh, absolutely.
Then it's not 1, 2, 5 people. It's hundreds and
Yeah,
thousands.
so 1, 2, or 5 little people scared in their corner being looked at
That's right.
is not the same as like a group of people standing in truth and
Power.
honor and power together.
And as they take away our money and our right to earn a living, we start saying, well,
Well, I'm
we're
not
going
giving you this $1,200
we're
then.
not giving you the $1,200, and it's going to cost you $5,000.
Yes.
Right. So
Yeah.
all of a sudden you twist the tables. Where great,
Yeah, the fact
you've
that-
got us out of work. You're not supporting what we're doing. You're doing unlawful actions against us. So what we're
So we're
going to
gonna
do,
charge you
we're
for
going to turn it around. So you do those unlawful actions, it's going to cost you this,
Absolutely.
and you're going to have to pay it because we're going to have court orders that state that. And we don't have to go through their system of
That'd be
governance.
amazing.
Well, it'll happen.
Next steps.
We'll mop the floor with them. That's it.
Thanks you guys so much for joining.
Thank you, buddy.
This was really, really awesome, and I hope that people feel informed and empowered and not afraid of these silly little tickets. And I hope more people are actually going to bring their butts down there, whether you're wearing a white mask or an anonymous mask or whatever, so you don't get bugged by your family, and just be a body showing up.
Yeah,
Walk
show up.
for Freedom, January 2nd, 1 p.m. City Hall, Calgary.
Yeah.
Make sure you're there, everybody. This isn't
100%.
everybody has to come.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We need the power of the people,
no excuses.
and we just have
No
to make it
excuses,
happen. Yeah, no
No
excuses.
Yeah.
Over and out.
Thanks you guys so much for joining.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Very much. Very cool. Glad we're here.
Stop talking so we can cut it out.
Let me see.
No.
That'll be good. Yeah.
Namaste.
We'll find a good cutout spot. Like I need 3 seconds of pause at the end.
Yeah, train me up, Misty.